Today on Making New Possible by Eric Didier, the co-founder of Bolt Media Productions, a fast-growing Milwaukee-based startup helping brands and founders grow their impact and income through strategic storytelling and video content. We talk a lot about the theory of storytelling, how he approaches the balance between creating art that's really good and work that helps their clients actually meet their KPIs. I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation and to welcome Eric to the podcast. Hey, Eric.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming in to have this conversation with me. As you know, this is a new podcast for me. And I was saying before we started, I feel like I'm in like the presence of a real expert here. So don't like show me out or show me out.
No, you're good. You're good.
Here. I have the microphone. So I feel like that,
You
like
got the microphone?
already I feel like it's like a
Yes.
big deal. You know what I mean? That I like not just using my MacBook microphone.
That's half the battle.
Exactly. No, I'm really excited to have you on here because this series is about creative disruption. And I see you as sort of an expert in your field in storytelling. And so I wanted to unpack that a little bit with you. Pay for groceries and a mortgage.
For sure. Yeah. Still can't do the mortgage part, but hey, we're getting there, right? No, I think what really started for me was there was a moment, actually, I was doing photos for the Major League of Gaming. And there was one picture that I took explicitly that just stands out so vividly in my head of, it was a picture of a mom taking a picture of her kid with one of the gaming celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
And it was of her phone, and that moment stood out to me so much because I'm like, okay, this is more than just point the camera, hit the button, put it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that, that family is going to cherish that moment for a long time to come. And I think that's when I started to realize, I was doing photos then, but then I was like, okay, what about moving photos, right? Like there's a story to be told, sure, within one frame, but definitely within a few minutes. So
totally.
That's kind of what led me into this whole journey where I am today.
I really love that. That's really sweet. I'm deep in a very intense artistic pursuit where I'm building an immersive interactive archive of my life that people will be able to walk through. I'll have to get you the invite. Actually, it's coming up in a couple of weeks, but I've been thinking a lot about storytelling from that perspective. And then what moments of my life are worth recreating, you know what I mean? To sort of like represent an era and whatnot. But you're right that like, I printed 893 pictures of my children.
Oh my goodness.
For an installation because I literally could not choose a moment to try to describe like what motherhood was like. So yes, I agree with you. Like probably she has that in her phone or printed out somewhere, or maybe she's going to like, have it on a large scale and have everyone she knows and loves come look at it with her. So true. I agree. I absolutely agree. Well, I feel like you maybe identify as like artist first, entrepreneur second. Am I right in that?
I think so. I think that's a fair statement.
Okay, so tell me then, how do you balance like cinematic quality with business results without having to like sacrifice either? Because I feel like, at least from what I see with Milwaukee, we definitely sell people on the heart and on the story and the emotion. But then like, KPIs get in the way of like the actual execution. And then there's always sort of like that tussle where you're like, oh God, are we like stripping all the cool out of whatever this, you know what I mean, potentially could be? What's your take on that? How do you balance that? How do you approach it with clients?
I'm going to be the first one to say we try and stay as far away from KPIs as humanly possible because that's just a muddled mess. And really, you can do everything in your power to practice that, work on those items. But like from our perspective, we want to give you the best product as possible and let you and your team decide where that's best fit. We helped school systems pass referendums by doing ads for them. We didn't run the ads. We didn't worry about the KPI, but it over 40x performed other methods that they were doing because we just helped them strategize. We're not afraid to say, okay, this is how it could work. This is where it's worked from our experience. But I don't want to be getting that email saying, we're 80%, not 85% or whatever, because that to me just diminishes the artistry of it in a way. And it kind of takes the fun. I don't want to say it takes the fun out of it. We always have fun doing what we do, but it's just one barrier to our entry. So we always tell people we're the experts in our field, you're the experts in yours. The intersection of that Venn diagram is where we're going to put a beautiful piece together. And I
Ooh, I
think,
like that. I might steal that
yeah,
from you. It's
feel
like
free.
an
Yeah,
approach because I feel like, it's my default to try to make people happy or whatever. And
right.
then I feel like
Yes.
there are moments in time when we've had to like make the decision like, okay, we're going to artistically compromise here. You know what I mean? To make someone happy. And
And
I
I mean,
I
obviously, we
hate
have to
it.
deliver what the client wants first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, our job is to help guide that journey. So
Mhm.
we do everything that we can to say, okay, well, let's meet, let's scout, let's come to your place of business, let's learn as much as we can to get as much context. But at the same
Mhm.
time, we tell them very upfront, like, when we propose these things, this is with what we know. If you know something that's going to do better, or
Yeah,
somebody
let
that
us
we can
know.
talk to that'll provide a better context, that's where we want to go. We're just going to help put the frame together so that you don't have to worry about that.
That makes sense. Well, I feel like your career's had a couple of iterations along the way. Tell me about, from seeing that family take the picture to where you are now. When did you know, like, okay, this might actually work as a business? Like, I'm gonna like
Hmm.
pursue this and kind of go all in on this being what you do.
I think it's so interesting. My wife was coming over at the time with the K1 visa,
Mm-hmm.
and we were still apart, long distance relationship at that point, and I kind of hit a moment where I said to myself, if there is a time, the universe is gonna either tell you or not. And I think that was the moment where I'm like, if I'm going to do this and make a life out of this, it has to be now. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Not because
Mm,
I can't or won't, but because once she's here, I'm going to devote all of my, we were long distance for years. Like, I'm going to spend as much time as I can with her. So let me do the building now. So hopefully that doesn't, get impacted later. And she's been incredible through the journey. And obviously, COVID stopped the first business, and we were very
mm.
blessed to be able to get blessings from everybody with the Misfits to say, hey, like, our last hire before COVID hit, we hired him in February of
Oh God.
2020, right
Yeah.
prime time. And I are now running Media Bolt Productions. And we were like, we don't, we did this for the creative side. Like, we don't want to stop. So we got the blessings to keep clients, and we had enough to run us through COVID. And it's been just over 5.5 years now, I think, as Media Bolt. So we've been blessed to keep going on. But I think it's moments like that where you just say, it's a passion for me. I am going to stumble. Everybody in entrepreneurship has their moments, has their failures, but I think it's finding them as quickly and as abruptly as possible so you can learn as much as you can as quickly as you can.
Yeah, I think a lot about that, to be honest with you, because I don't know, 90% of Milwaukee's revenue was based on in-person experience.
Mm,
And so we went into 2020 feeling like it was going to be the greatest year ever. Like the
right.
number of commitments we had, it was so exciting, like
Yeah.
so exciting. And then to watch them all vapor like overnight and be left with like literally nothing. There was a moment where I was like, well, maybe that was the end. Like it was a great ride.
Yeah.
11 years in, like not a lot of businesses make it. Similarly, we had a bunch of clients who were like, well, we can't do in-person events with you, but what else could we do? And I feel
Right.
so grateful that we had the like space to be able to figure that out with
Mm-hmm.
them and honestly open up a whole other line of our business where we do provide creative services now that have nothing to do with in-person experience. It's sort of like how to do audience engagement online and not IRL. And to be frank, there was a moment like even in early 2021 where I was like, okay, maybe this is just what Milwaukee is. Like people
Right.
pivot.
Yeah.
It's okay to have new business. Like I couldn't see a world in which the world would open back up and the
Mm-hmm.
event stuff would come back. And I had sort of made my peace with it. I was like, that's
Right.
fine. Like I'm great. I feel grateful that we survived, that like we have so many strong relationships that like they were willing to buy something new from us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
After buying the old thing for so long. And so it's been really crazy to have it be that like now we have both two streams of
Yeah.
business. But woof, that was scary. That was really, really scary. Like I still feel like I haven't totally processed all my trauma around it. To
I
have
feel
it
the
just
same
sort of
way.
like,
Yeah. It pops up every time, and they're like, no, we're just going to bury that
yeah,
back
just punch
down.
that down. That's fine. We survived. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. Well, tell me, like, you say your videos don't just look good, they convert. What does strategic storytelling mean? I guess in practice, I want to hear like some of your habits, or like, can you give us
Mhm.
a little, don't give us all the secret sauce, but like a little bit,
Yeah.
little taste of your like thought process, your methodology for approaching something?
I think where we stand tall is in preparation and pre-production. We are filmmakers at heart, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, first, but our business revenue is client side, agency side, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of, whenever there's free time, like I mean, I don't think anybody that's watching this that's in the film world is going to bark up at this, but the first quarter of every year for film is just slow. You have clients that need to figure out their budgets, and it's just, so we do what we can to fill that time with as much biz dev as possible. So we're working
Sure.
on our podcast, we're doing YouTube, we're doing short films in the next couple of months that grow our skills and capabilities so that we can apply that to our clients. And
Mm-hmm.
within that, pre-production in a short film is 90% of the battle. You need
Mm.
to have call sheets out to the right people that can be as prepared as possible. We've got 2 weekly meetings that are just check-ins for one of our short films going on right now that's still in pre-production, that everything has to be good. We're working with SAG actors, so that has to be something that's, there's just a lot of moving pieces. So I think having that experience when it comes to the client side, when we go and have those conversations and meetings, and like I said, we'd like to do as much scouting as we can to make sure that we have as much information as we can, then we can put that all together and help provide a strategy for that piece. Now, some clients come to us with the idea fleshed out. We
Mm-hmm.
go and set it up and do the thing. But
Right.
some clients come to us with, I mean, I think I have this idea, but what say
Yeah.
you? So it's kind of cool to have both a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, because we get to flex those creative muscles that we work on whenever there's downtime. And I just think that that's something that we try and advocate for anybody out there that
Mm-hmm.
is in our position or in a similar position, because we went from, a couple clients to a bunch of word of mouth to now we're having collaborators that we talk to on our podcast that are coming to us. Hey, can you help me produce this? Can you direct this? Like, it's interesting because my co-founder, Justin, is a director of photography first. He also directs, he produces. I'm a first assistant camera by trade. So
Mm-hmm.
like we have our individual hats, but
Mm-hmm.
also it's cool to be able to help out collaborators during those times when they need it. Getting back to the client side, now we have all of those resources. So if a client comes to us and says, I've got a really small idea, or it's just come and capture some footage, Justin and I can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they come to us and say, we've got a budget, this is going to be a 6-month plan, we're going to be rolling out over the next year and a half, whatever we create, we have a whole Rolodex of resources
Well, that's just
from all
great.
different roles,
Yeah,
all different
exactly.
walks that can help contribute to those projects. So we're not blindly calling, hey, we hope we pick the guy that can do the job.
Yeah, and that
We
can
have
actually
all
follow
of
through.
that.
You trusted. You trust
Yeah.
them. You know what their skills are. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I hope that
That's really,
answers the
really,
question.
yeah, no, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. I feel like I don't know, humans have always loved stories. Like that's why there's
Hmm.
cave paintings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever from Paleolithic man. But storytelling itself feels like a buzzword of the time. I'm curious, like, why do you think that's such a powerful lever in a marketing mix right now? Like it feels like to me it's necessary to cut through sort of the like AI malaise. But I'm curious your like take on that. Why
Yeah,
why
I
now?
agree. Yeah, I think it's interesting because, kind of as I was teasing with the KPIs earlier, I don't also want to be working with a client that comes in the intro email or in their reach out. Yeah, we want to go viral. Like, one, what
Mm,
does that mean for you? Two, I don't feel like that's a lasting relationship from our
mhm,
perspective. Because for us, we want to work with clients for their lifetime because we store all of our footage, everything that we do. So we've had clients that we haven't worked with in 3 years come back to us like, we need to kind of revamp some of this. Can you either rework the piece or can you send us some of that footage? So for us, it's so interesting to find those gaps. And I think, I find myself, as everybody does, just doom scrolling, right? So for
mhm.
me, I'm not even watching half a second before I'm on to the next one. And I think it's kind of our way of kicking it, to the curb a little bit to say, hey, like, we're going to put something out there that when somebody watches it, they're going to feel something.
Mm.
When you are done doom scrolling and you're done doing whatever, you're going to be eating dinner and forgetting what you watched.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the reality of how that works. But we work to put something together that is going to create a conversation at the table. Our film that we did last year, Dreams Fuel Greatness, was my business partner was a professional baseball player, and the percentage of African-American athletes, he's African-American, that start on Major League Baseball teams has been slowly declining.
Mm.
So we did that as a love letter for him to kind of give back to the game of baseball, but also to inspire young African-American kids to get out there and go make their dreams possible. So that was our story that we wanted to tell. And I think it's been, hopefully we hear, it's hard to say because kids now might, we got 20 years to find out if they make it or not, but we hope that it does a good job, because that's something that we feel strongly about, both as humans and as a business. And I think, that kind of creates a whole nother Venn diagram of good intersection that we find successful.
I really love that. So what excites you most, like, about this content creation field right now? And how are you using AI to support what you're doing, if at all?
I think it's interesting because, like, we have to be knowledgeable at the very least, because there's going to be a time where we get approached to ask about how AI can be implemented.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm personally worried about it, like, taking my job. I don't think it's there yet, nor do I know its outlook, but we use it 100%, when we're doing the clericals of the business side, right? Like,
Right.
there's time that can absolutely be saved. And there's, various little AI things, like in our editing program, there's an AI audio cleanup that kind of just cleans up some of the background noise. Like, there's various minute pieces that we use kind of day to day. But I think it's interesting from a content standpoint, because when we're out and we're filming, we try and capture as much BTS as possible. Well, when we're doing as many things as we're doing, there are times where we just need to go and be like, hey, ChatGPT, I've got all this. Help me make something make sense from, the
Right.
spaghetti that's in my brain right now, because I got nothing. And it helps, it helps. I think people are going to levitate towards it. And I think it's interesting to see, like, on Roku or Hulu or whatever you're watching, you'll hear an ad and you're like, that's clearly an AI voiceover. This is clearly AI. But, on one of the short films that we're working on right now, we're looking to kind of replace an arm to be kind of a robotic arm, in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's less of creating the whole thing to create the story, but more so supplementing the story that we're trying to tell. And I think that that's kind of a good leverage point. And I think that it helps, and clients come to us like, oh, hey, I put the script in AI. What do you think? Like, it helps them get their idea on paper that we can then read and say, okay, we can approach this from X, Y, or Z way, because now we have an idea of what you're looking to film. We can get B-roll that's practical
Yeah, it's
for
more
it.
organized on their end.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
I've been hearing about, I don't know the name of it, but I heard on a podcast last week, actually, that there is a new call for, like, more distinct disclaimers, and even the idea of setting up a social network that's, like, human only, like, that would not allow there to be AI generated content on it, which I'm curious about in some ways, because, to your point, like, you don't have a whole, like, CGI animation department. And the fact that you could, like, make a robot arm is pretty freaking cool. Like, it allows you as an artist and a professional to, like, level up. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's the interesting thing about that too. When we do this, obviously, like, this is a short film, it's a spec piece. So we don't have budget, we don't have all of these things. Our first choice always is to hire the guy, because they're going to do a much better job and be able to do that. But for us, now we know, okay, I can create a prompt that will do 80% of what I'm asking, that I can then take to that person and say, here's what I did, but make it good now. Like, I think it might help kind of communicate and be a little bit of a middle ground, especially when people might not be as knowledgeable about what they're trying to ask, as well as, I can ask ChatGPT to, tell me what day of the week the Thursday 3 months from now is. But if I don't know how to ask it more complex things, then I'm not going to get the right result.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of I hope that people use it like this, because, like, the AI voiceovers that I see on these ads are terrible. I'd rather just hire, I don't want to see people lose any work, but I also think that those are probably clients that aren't coming to you anyway because they just want to put the thing out and then just let it sit, and what happens versus probably saving a budget and making something
Yeah,
proper.
my prediction is a couple fold, to be honest with you. I think it's here, people are going to use it.
Mhm.
In terms of clients who are wanting to just generate something quickly because they're trying to feed a content beast, I think they'll
Mhm.
do that until there isn't enough traction and engagement on that
Yeah.
content. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in some ways, it's like robots talking to robots between the content going into the algorithm. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if people are going to be compelled enough to leave Instagram or TikTok and go to a new social network
Mhm.
just to have human generated content. I think mostly people are on those because they're saying they're doom scrolling. They're using it to sort of disassociate from life. Like
Yeah.
have to have like a really firm moral stance. Like I'm only gonna watch human. I don't know if the general people in mass care enough
True.
to like set up a whole new account. But I to your point, you can clearly see when it's, you know what I mean? It's not one for one in terms of the like output at this point. Now what will change though is like that'll get better and better. So I don't know. I mean,
And I
at some
hope that
point,
it
like,
does,
yeah,
because then they can do their thing again. Like, from a storytelling standpoint, I'm not worried, because, like, if I'm a brand owner, let's say I own a mom and pop shop, we're 60
sure.
years in, it's me and 3 other people, I'm not able to have AI come interview me and let me tell my
Mm-hmm.
story and why we love our family business and why you should come support us. Like
Mm-hmm.
that, you can give discounts, you can make whatever, but, like, I want to hear from you personally. And I think that over time that fatigue might set in more and more. I think you're starting to see a little bit, but there's a million and one conversations about, is the bubble going to crash, so on and so forth. But in some degree it's here to stay. So let's find out how we work with it and how we navigate to help create better stuff.
I agree. All right. Well, I want to pivot just slightly and ask your advice. I feel like I see you on the internet between your own podcast and just like how you rep yourself. I'm curious, like, how have you found your own public persona voice? You know what I mean? Being who
Hmm.
you are in your digital life. And then what kind of like advice do you have for me and for other founders who are trying to tell their own story so that they can, you know what I mean, run their small business, start their startup,
Right.
etc.
I think that's the toughest thing, because, like, I find myself in a weird position where, because content, if I want to be broad, is the thing that we do,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everything I have to put out has to be to the time, 211, right? Like, I feel like if I'm
Mm-hmm.
just filming from my phone, it's not good enough. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like my internal dialogue. But I think the easiest way for people to get out there is to start small. I think people post a video, they don't see it go, and they're like, crap, like, now I wasted my time. I don't have confidence. And the message just breaks apart inside for
Mm-hmm.
them. They're like, is this worth it? you know, all the sorts of internal doubt sets in. But it's crazy, even though I'm not posting nearly as much as I want to and nearly as much as I used to when I was younger and had more, oomph behind that enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
I still get people in meetings, I saw this from you, I saw that post, and it's incredible to hear that, because it's like, okay, well, that post maybe has 8 likes, but, like, maybe 400 impressions, and you click it a little deeper, and it's like, okay, well, 50% of that's from the greater Milwaukee area. So the right people are seeing it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just a matter of knowing that a little bit. And don't be afraid to use the platform to find your voice. I'm going through a
Mm-hmm.
renaissance right now where it's like, okay, I'm a business owner, I'm a content creator, I'm a first assistant camera, I'm also into health and fitness. So it's like,
Right,
there's
you're a
many bridges that I'm
multifaceted
trying to draw.
individual.
And I always look back to an experience. I was a video game streamer. And when I kind of stopped that and became an entrepreneur, it was kind of eye-opening to see who was there for me and who was there for what I did, in a sense. There were some people that followed my Instagram and I still talk to and text today. But
Mhm.
there's also people that, all right, well, he's done. I'm on to the next one, right? So it's interesting to kind of see how the teeter-totters in a way. And I think, a lot of it is just doing the thing. I get asked all the time, well, I don't have the equipment. I don't have the camera,
Mhm.
the lights, I'm being lit by my bedroom window right now. Like, that's how I'm
Mhm.
lighting myself today. That's more than adequate. You can put your phone
Mhm.
on a tripod, record your video, looks good. I think the barrier to entry scares people, but I think if you start small and just get your message across, it's okay. Like, you'll learn what works, what doesn't. You'll get conversation started, get some coffee, and then this first time you hear, I feel like I know you already because I've seen so much of your content, then you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm good.
Oh, that's really helpful. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, for a long time, it was like, I don't know if I have anything else to say. Like,
I
you know what I
definitely
mean?
feel that.
I don't know if I have strong opinions, and like, do I need to be making noise if I don't feel
Yeah.
strongly about stuff?
And it's like, do I want that to be the persona that people associate with?
Right, that I'm just
Like,
talking to
ruffling
talk.
feathers is going to get views, but I don't want to do that as a business owner.
Agreed, agreed. And I feel like if I mean, I guess I'm not as worried about like perfect quality. I could see where that would be something that you would be concerned about because people are, you know what I mean? They would judge like, well, this is how his video looks. I guess this is how his work would look.
Right. Yeah.
I don't feel like I care as much about that, but we have like such a low streaming on in YouTube at this point. I feel like if anyone's watching this, this is
Yeah.
great. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I realize we're like at the beginning. I think what sort of compelled me to get started at the end of last year with this was more like, actually, I do have stuff to say. I want to have some conversations
Mm-hmm.
out loud. You know what I mean? And I think I do love to write, and I do write pieces from here. Here and there or whatever, but I realize that like nobody likes long form writing. Like I'm a regular contributor to a online magazine called Start Midwest, and it's 1,500 words is the max for the
Mm.
submissions. And every month I'm like, "Oh, God, I gotta cut this
I
down.
got to
Like
cut
I'm
down.
a verbose person. Like getting it to 1,500 words is hard for me every month.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's not what's in mode. You know what I mean? Like people would rather have this be not even a 30-minute conversation. They want like a 30-second like dose.
And I think the most interesting thing is if you go to a networking event, everybody there hates playing the game
Mm,
90% of the time. There's
mhm.
people that's just how they're wired, and God bless
True.
them. But I think a lot of people would say, golly, like, you got to come. All right, I got my business cards. I've got,
Mhm.
my phone ready to share contacts. Like, I think a lot of people would appreciate if they saw a post of somebody, making a new breakfast that they like. I don't know, pick your thing. But then it's a conversation starter. You're not doing the how's business, check that box. How's the
Mhm.
family, check that box. You get to be like, shoot, I saw you had that breakfast. Have you tried it with maple syrup or whatever it is? Like, I think that creates better conversations. And then again, like, it's a long-term game, and I think people forget about that a lot. The AI, the content boom, like, it's all short, digestible, but like, when you think about it, then people are going to think the next time they need whatever it is you do of you,
Mm.
because you had a good conversation that wasn't just checking the boxes of what's expected.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I actually think that's maybe the blessing of this like kind of renaissance with the podcast. In some ways I laugh because it's like, there's no new idea. All this is the same thing as long form radio programs, which was like,
Yep.
turn of the last century, like you know what I mean, how people consumed their media. But you're right. You do a lot of priming. You're really introducing yourself when people get a chance to hear lots of ideas in this longer format, and it does take that consistency. So, all right, well, you're encouraging me to keep going. I'll
Well, and
keep it
here's the other
going.
thing. I'm a savage introvert. I am
Mm,
not. I'm the first one to admit I would be a lot farther along in my career if I actually went places. Right? But this is also my way of saying, okay, here, world, is
I'm
me.
right here. This is who I
What
am. Yeah, exactly.
reciprocation do you have for me that we can work together on in a sense.
Oh my God, I love that. No, I'm a deep introvert too, which nobody would know given like how public all of our programming is. But I feel like my husband always says I run out of words by the end of the week. Like I feel like I have like a limited number of words I can speak and give away. And then I'm like totally cashed out and I need to crash out on the weekend and
Yeah,
sit
the
in the
social
dark.
battery truly.
Yeah,
hits its
exactly.
end.
Completely. It's on E. It absolutely needs to refill. Well, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me. Thank you so much for coming on and explaining to all of us how you make new possible.
Yes, thank you for having me.